What it do, homies? It's your boy Dave, and I'm back today. I've been seeing this video circulate around. It's very interesting, the type of things that start trending on YouTube. And it's called America is Not the Greatest Country in the World Anymore. Okay. Now, this was back in 2012. So I'm very interested, right? I didn't, when it comes to like politics and stuff, this is not necessarily something, I mean, if you would call this politics, something that I like think about. Is America the greatest country? You know what I mean? So I'm very interested, open up some dialogue, maybe even teach me some things or two that I don't understand. So let's go ahead, shut up and turn it up.
Go on to the next question. You, sir.
My name's Steven. I'm a junior, and my question's for Will McAvoy. Do you consider yourself a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent?
I consider myself a New York Jets fan, Steven.
Since it's been brought up, you've almost religiously avoided stating or even implying a political allegiance.
To be fair, I am an Eagles fan, so.
Is that because, as a news anchor, you feel the integrity of your broadcast would be compromised?
That sounds like a good answer. I'll take it.
There was a short piece on Vanity Fair's website by Marshall Westbrook. You probably saw it, where he calls you the Jay Leno of news anchors. You're popular because you don't bother anyone.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Jealous of the size of Jay's audience.
Are you willing to say here tonight whether you lean right or left?
Really trying to
I
get
voted for candidates run by both major parties.
trying to get an answer out of him.
Move on to the next question. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jenny. I'm a sophomore, and this is for all three of you. Can you say in one sentence or less what... you know what I mean.
One sentence.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Huh.
Will?
Oh, here we go, y'all.
The New York Jets.
I said football.
I'm going to hold you to an answer on that.
He said New York.
What makes America
It's football,
the greatest
yeah.
country in the world?
Well, Lewis and Sharon said it. Diversity and opportunity and freedom and freedom. You don't look satisfied.
I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why
Sorry.
is
Not
America
the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You know what? The fact that he answered that, that's very interesting. The way that he kind of just answered like it was on cue, it was almost as if this was a TV show, right? Especially with the way that it's all broadcasted and everything.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of her paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey.
And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally want...
Wait. Is this from a movie? I think this is from a movie.
Well, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is, there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Ooh. Oh my, oh my goodness, this man just brought out the facts. And hold on. Okay. I'm gonna tell you something, man. So I work in customer service, you know what I mean? And every now and then, well, I probably should say too much. What I can say is that sometimes, especially when I was in college. You kind of get approached, especially by people who are foreign, and I've been remarked on, or I've been told, I didn't necessarily think that I had such tunnel vision and everything. But when he was talking about like literacy and like knowledge of the world, you'd be surprised how many Americans have very little knowledge of the world outside of the United States, especially if we're born here. And it just calls on that guy that said, diversity and opportunity. Um, I know that there are some people who come here to the country for those opportunities and diversity, and I'm guessing that that's giving Americans kind of like that sense. Like say, there's no proof that America is the best. We just think that. You know what I mean? Um, but like I said, don't have a lot of knowledge like outside of the world. And I remember it was this lady, and we was looking for a place in like another country and everything. And she just got so mad at me. She got so mad at me because it took me a long time to figure out where it was. And then she immediately lashed out at me and just said, "You Americans don't know anything outside of your country." And I didn't really necessarily take offense to it, but I just thought, I was like, unless I was like a geography, where I wanted to study about the world, I had what do you want to call it? Not incent. Yeah, well, I had no reason to study anything out of, I don't like to travel. I don't think, if I'm going to travel somewhere, it's going to be outside the country. I plan on my wife just kind of figuring all that stuff out, because I don't really necessarily like to travel. But outside of that, I don't really, I don't really do any research. But then I ask myself that question, like, why? Why wouldn't I want to know more about my world? Why wouldn't I want to know about all these other places? And I think that's that type of thinking, right? Like, say, none of it's the fault like the 20-year-old. It's just, how he was brought up. You was taught this stuff, but then you weren't taught it anymore. And then you kind of get wrapped up in kind of like this narrow-minded kind of things, you know what I mean? Because it's almost like it's almost like living in America or born in America is almost, I'm gonna compare it to like a casino. You know what I mean? And the whole purpose of the casino is to keep you there so that you could spend more money, to kind of dispel the illusion of time. You know what I mean? That's why they have no windows. So kind of living in America is kind of like, as you start growing up, all of these things that you're surrounded by is just there to kind of keep your mind rooted in in America, unless you have this interest to kind of think about things outside of it. It's kind of just rooted right here. Right. And of course, me born in America, when I think about these things, that's immediately what I think. Like, is, unfortunately, some people don't come to this realization until they're already like grown adults. It's actually kind of a shame. But like you said, it's not necessarily like the fault of Americans, but I could see kind of how that frustration, if you coming over here, especially when you're saying about, diversity opportunities, especially when you have foreigners come up to America and they realize all the type of things that we have available to us, and then see us slacking, not taking advantage of it. You know what I mean? Like, they come over here like, what are you doing? Like that's crazy. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should be doing this and everything. So I think it's just kind of like that narrow-minded, kind of like that arrogance, kind of like that, but like I said, I don't think it's unknowingly arrogance. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that, like, I didn't think about it because I didn't have to. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's disgusting. I do agree with you, but that's when you were saying that 27th in math and everything, it just makes me wonder, why is that? Why is it? Has America coddled us Americans, right, to doing the very minimum to get by? You know what I mean? They tried their best to kind of dispel all our wants and all our needs. It's an illusion pulled over our head, right? Casino, right? Interesting.
Doubted on a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite?
I guess this is a movie. I need to watch this. I thought this was real.
Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy.
So what went wrong?
We reached for the stars,
Self-absorbed, maybe?
acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election.
That's what he just said right there.
We didn't identify ourselves by who make us feel inferior.
Acted like, man, we aspired to intelligence. It didn't make us feel inferior. So almost kind of like a high horse. Like America kind of got on that high horse and said, we are above others. You know what I mean? And then they teach their generations and generations down that knowledge. And then they grow up and then they continue teaching it down. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Why right now is this circulating? Something going on that I don't know about.
We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed. By great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
First step in solving every problem is realizing there is one. See, that's what I was just saying earlier. The biggest thing that he said right there is realizing there is one, right? If you don't think that you have a problem, how could you know, right? The casino, right? Kind of a analogy or example that I gave it, right? How could you know how much time has passed if you don't necessarily have a clock, or you're just too busy, you're absorbed in this, right? So you don't think there's a problem. Everything's been told to you that everything's good and everything. You ain't got to necessarily worry about something, right? So even though what he said, is very powerful, the biggest thing that he said is the realization. And that's what's not happening, right? We're not taking a step back and saying, we're kind of just pushing forward without thinking like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do that. No, just keep pushing forward, push forward. Don't worry about them. Let's just, we're great. Remember, we're the greatest. Keep going. And that's just being brought down generations by generations. Yo, this is very thought provoking.
Enough?
Oh man, I gotta watch this. This is look, guys. When it comes to things like this, I can get very, my specialty is like breaking down music, but I wanted to take a stab at this. I'm not necessarily that good at articulating my thoughts about these type of issues, but I wanted to kind of learn, you know what I mean? I'm always open to learning, even though, my head is mostly kind of music geared. But listening to this just brought up, past experiences and stuff that I've had. And I've since then made an effort to try to learn more about outside of this country, if I can and when I can. But like I said, it doesn't happen that often because I don't necessarily like to travel, and most of my thoughts and everything has been tied up to providing for my family, and that's pretty much all I'm focused on. But I'd be interested in hearing what you guys' thoughts are, specifically those that are not in America. But, honestly, I want to hear from everybody, right? The thing where he said America used to be, and then he started talking about morals, right? And that just got me thinking, how far back are we talking about when it comes to morals, right? When was America great? That is the biggest question. When was America great? So this has been very interesting. Sorry if I wasn't that articulate and getting my thoughts across. Hopefully you kind of understood where I was coming from. That's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Dave's out.